Alan Rossum to receive. A moment almost unimaginable 13 months ago is here. The NFL, the Saints, back in New Orleans, back in the Superdome. Rossum from the 5. And a nice return to the 29-yard line. And that brings Michael Vick and the Atlanta Falcons out to the field. Quite simply, what Michael Vick has done in the first couple of games is being like the Michael Vick that we saw in Virginia Tech when he almost won a national championship in this building against Florida State. He's running. He's run for 175 yards this year, tied for 8th in the NFL through his first couple of weeks. Drive starts from the 29. And Vick gives to Warwick Dunn. Throws the right side to the 35, gain of 6. After the gain of 6, 2nd and 4. And Vick's first throw of the night is incomplete. It was intended for Michael Jenkins. Vick lost the football. Goes out of bounds. New Orleans did not have possession. It's still Atlanta ball, but it's 4th down. Fujita came in and freed it out of Vick's hand.
And Byron Scott had an opportunity to pick it up and run it in for a touchdown. Michael's got the ball out loose, trying to straight arm. Fujita does a nice job. Byron Scott gets a good hop, tries to scoop it with one hand, and can't make the play.
So much for the notion that Michael Vick will run wild starting with the first play.
Michael Kanan, who has made a headline for missing 6 of his 8 field goal attempts this year, is now back to just punting and kicking off. The former Saint Morton Anderson is here for most field goals. Look out! Right through! A kick block by Steve Gleason. It is scooped and scored by Curtis DeLoach. Touchdown, New Orleans! John Carney for the extra point. 7-0 New Orleans.
Unbelievable how the center was blocked. Remember, you can't line anybody up over the center. And what they do is they just create this giant gap for Gleason to go through. And he's on the kicker before he ever gets a chance to get it off. Watch how close he is to taking off his hands.
You could not script this any better than it just happened for the New Orleans Saints. Everybody thought that the wave of emotion would come in with the Saints. If you were the Falcons, the first thing you had to be afraid of is being swept away in that particular wave of motion. That is exactly what happened now. And for those people who look to the New Orleans Saints as something that will uplift them, uplift this city, uplift the entire Gulf region, they just had it.
This is like a slap in the face to the Atlanta Falcons to say, okay, look, we know it's all about the Saints here, but you know what? This is a football game, and we better get ourselves ready for it.
Gleason, who was a big special teams presence the last few years, came up with the block. DeLoach was waived by the Giants. That's how we ended up on this roster. 3rd year in the league, and that is his first National Football League touchdown.
Joe, you can say it's a football game for the Atlanta Falcons, but for people in here and people watching and root for the Saints, it's more than a football game, and that delivered on everything they could have hoped for.
D'Angelo Hall, who is a bottle of excitement as well, is back with Rossum to return this kick. And it comes to the hands of Rossum, who fakes the backward pass to Hall and is brought down at the 28-yard line for a franchise who in their very first game, 1967, returned the opening kickoff in franchise history for a touchdown on this rebirth night, a moment to remember.